I have some serious mental health issues, so a lot of people don't believe my story and shrug it off as me being schizophrenic. But I can tell what's a hallucination and what's not. Sometimes I stayed at my grandmother's house as a child, which used to be a slave's house near the owner's mansion. It used to be the Flats mental institution in the early 1900s, but it is now a home. When I was between 8 and 15 years old, I had many paranormal experiences while staying at my grandmother's house. It was terrifying whenever I saw shadows of people throughout the room that I had while staying there, especially when nobody else was in the room with me. The window to my left would also open by itself, and my things would randomly fall off the shelves. The worst thing, however, happened to me when I was 13. Side note, at this point, I had not yet been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Therefore, I know it was not a hallucination. So, I was sitting on my bed one night, looking at my phone when it just shut off, which was weird, since it was fully charged. It never worked again after that. This confused me because it's never done that before. Then all of a sudden, I heard a thud and turned around quickly, terrified of what it could have been. My gran was an Orthodox Christian and had many statues throughout the house. One of them fell and shattered as a window flung open. My gran came running in saying in Serbian roughly, "What are you doing breaking my stuff, you idiot?" I tried to explain that it wasn't me, but she was still angry. I ended up being sent home over that, and my whole family was so angry with me. The next day, my gran was in the hospital, as if she had fallen down the stairs and shattered her left arm. She underwent numerous surgeries to repair the bone in her arm because it was literally like dust. I will always believe that this was linked to my experiences and that she hadn't fallen down at all. By the way, she was very healthy for her age, so it wasn't like she just fell. I honestly believe she fell due to ghosts or something like that. She still lives in that house, and next time I visit her, I will take pictures of my old room. I have 3 stories for you. This is the first story. When I was about 3 years old, my oldest brother got really sick and was in his room while my mom and other brother was in the living room. The front door suddenly opened on its own, and a dark cloud came in through the door and headed down the hallway. My mom quickly jumped up and yelled.
Go ahead, where you came from.
My mom believed that it was my grandmother coming to get him. Story 2. When I was 17 years old, I would go visit my aunt, and she grew ill feelings towards her husband. She had cabinets that sat behind the chairs she would sit in at the kitchen table. My uncle had just gotten home from work, and as he was walking through the front door, one side of the cabinet opened and coffee mugs started flying towards him. He quickly threw his hands up and begged my aunt to stop, but she never even moved from the table or touched the cabinet or the mugs within it. I'm still scratching my head over this one. Story 3. When my kids was young, we had a small apartment with a small kitchen, and every night after getting the kids to bed, I would clean up the kitchen and make sure everything was put up and closed up for the night. The next morning, I would wake up and the kitchen cabinet doors would all be standing wide open. Still to this day, I can't stand someone leaving the kitchen cabinets open. I never found out why it happened. It just happened. So, this happened a few years ago, but I still remember it somewhat clearly to this day. So, for a bit of backstory, I grew up in a house that was full of cats. My family has a small thing for the paranormal, and we believe that our past cats might be watching over us. Now on to the story. I was going through some rough patches in my life as I stopped talking to one of my only friends back then due to reasons I will not be going over in this story. I was in my bed sobbing a bit, waiting to fall asleep. That's when I felt something hopping up onto my bed, and at first I thought it might be one of my other cats. But I quickly remembered that I didn't let any of my cats sleep in my room because they would keep me up all night. I looked in the direction of my door, and even though it was dark, I could just hardly see that my door was closed. At that moment, I was really scared and wondering if I was going to get eaten by something. Then I felt something curl up next to my leg and start making a very faint purring sound. I was just confused as to what the heck was going on. So I waited a bit and then sat up. I felt it jump off, so I quickly turned on my light and looked all around my room. I found nothing though. So I went back to bed, confused, but a bit happy as a past cat of mine may have just come back to visit me. To this day, that's what I believe, that my past cat has come back to comfort me.